Hello everyone, Bashar here. So if you're stopping by the channel, be it live stream or the YouTube channel, you might have noticed that we have been playing Diablo 4 and Slay the Spire 2 lately. And Slay the Spire 2 is more like a patch or an expansion to Slay the Spire 1. A lot of the features have been improved, but it's not too different, right? But there are differences, of course. So, just in case you haven't played Slade Spire 1 or you haven't played too much, I want to get into the Ascension. So, you will start the game with playing Ironclad. I believe that's a seeded run. After that, you will be unlocking Silent, Regent, Necrobinder, and Defect. And each time you win with a character, you will be unlocking the next Ascension. So, first off, you will have no Ascension modifier, so you will play the base game. But don't think about it that way. The real game is Ascension 10, and these are the easy modes. You know that is how one should approach. And the thing is, all of these modifiers will be cumulative. So Ascension 6 is not just going to be less rest sites, right? Fewer rest sites. It's going to be all of the difficulty modifiers all the way up to Ascension 6. So how many Ascension levels are there? In Slay the Spire 120, in Slay the Spire 2 10. In Slay the Spire 1, it took a lot of time to develop. As you can see, right, we are having multiple beta patches without having anything on the live version. They are a little bit slow. They make a good game, but they are really very slow. And in Slay the Spire 1, we didn't have the Ascension for a long time. After that, we had the Ascension up to 15. And that wasn't like this one, right? It was much simpler because, some of the Ascensions were divided amongst three things. Some of them were divided among two things. So, this is more concise and compact. So, how do the difficulty modifiers scale? So, first off, we have this one. This is the same as Slay Spire 1. You do have more elites on your map, right? So, you could say, but I do get stronger when I kill elites, right? Because you get relics. But thing is, you do not always want to fight rares, right? So, and sometimes this will force you, right? Or for example, you feel strong, right? And you want to go to a rare, and after that, there is another rare, even without a rest in between. That kind of stuff could kill you. So, but on Ascension 1, it doesn't really hurt. So this is nothing serious. So second Ascension is, so this is two Slay the Spire 1 difficulties merged together. Instead of starting with low HP and healing less afterwards, you just start off with, so for example, the role play is that you are dead, right? And now the veil resurrects you. So you start with 80% of your HP. So for example, on Ironclad, you have 80 HP, right? And you start off with 64. Even the start is lower. In Slay the Spire 1, the start was 68. If I recall, so 85%. However, now when we actually kill the Act Boss, we now get healed for 80% of whatever is missing. So there is a nuance there. At the beginning, you are dead and you are being revived. So therefore, the entirety of your HP bars, 80% is healed. However, when you kill bosses, so let's say I'm on 10 HP with Ironclad, right? Which means I'm missing 70 HP. So 80% of that 70, which is 56, is going to get healed. And after the boss, I will have 66 HP. In Slay the Spire 1, you would start off with 85% of your HP, but you would be healed 75% of your missing HP in between acts. So it's a little bit of a nerf, it's a little bit of a buff. And in Slay the Spire 1, your max HP would lower as well. In here, we don't have this, but still this is, I would say, harder than Slay the Spire 1. Enemies and treasure chests drop 25% less gold. So this is definitely feelable, right? You will feel this, right? Because normally when you are playing on Ascension 1 or the base game, you never care for how much HP you have when you defeat the boss, right? Because even if you have 1 HP, you are gonna get healed to 4. That's not the case on 2, right? So some of the damage you take may not make a difference, but because there is of the rounding down, but some of the damage that you take will make a difference. So for example, guys, if you can defeat the boss on 25 HP rather than 20 HP, that's going to make an HP difference of 4, right? Because 25 will be healed by 55, and sorry, 55's 80%, 44, and 20 will be healed by 60% of 80% of 60, which is 48, and that goes up to 68 and 69 respectively. So there is that sort of little difference, but there is. So yeah, this is somewhat feelable. So right now, if you are playing the base game like I am, relics have a very unfortunate amount of gold cost attached to them. So unless you are going through some special events that give you a lot of gold, relic buying is really very hard, or you have to be saving for a real long time. So yeah, this is somewhat feelable, but with the beta patch going live, hopefully in 2026, they take it a little bit slow, and I'm getting a little bit offended by it, right? It's pretty annoying. So you could say, why are you not playing the beta branch? I am climbing the difficulties. I am done as of today, not counting this one, right? Because this is way too weak. I am refusing to play it. More than 10 cards are going to get buffed, so I wait for the beta patch to eventually go live. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked. So this will be somewhat feelable, and at this point we have more elites, right? We start off with 80% of our HP. We heal by 80% of our missing HP, and the chest and enemies drop 25% of gold. So all in all, you will feel this, right? Feelable. This is very feelable, and it might not look like it's much to it is much, right? It's pretty annoying. This is the hardest one there is yet. So normally we have 3 potion slots, and on Ascension 4 we go down to 2 potion slots. So what is the problem with this? So guys, let's say you have 2 decent potions, and you can save your potions by taking like 4 or 5 damage, and at the end of the fight a potion drops, right? That's pretty annoying. You could have saved that 4 or 5 health, and you could have grabbed that potion. A lot of potions go to waste with 2 slots, right? Potion belt becomes much popular, right? So that's about it. On 5 we get the Ascender's Bane. That used to be 10, Ascension 10 on Slay the Spire 1. So you will have a curse in your deck that is not removable, that is not transformable, but once you draw it at the end of your turn, if it's still in your hand, it will exhaust itself, right? So it's somewhat annoying, right? If you draw it on turn 1 or something, but you get it out of your deck eventually. Every fight, of course. You have to contend with it every single fight. It's not dodgeable, yeah. So this does add, of course, some difficulty level, especially if the deck is small. This one, I have been feeling this one. I have been feeling this one more than I expected. So this doesn't have a, Slay the Spire 1 counterpart. This is Slay the Spire 2 only. So in the beta branch, they also added question marks, rest sites, events to this Ascension as well. Now they have taken that decision back because, events make the game colorful and enjoyable. So it's going to stay like this at this time, right? So if you are playing live, it is like this, right? If you are playing beta, it is like this, but at some point, the previous beta patch, or 100, in that one, it was less red size and less events. Fewer events, I believe would be the right word. So this is pretty problematic. So guys, sometimes you have a lot of very nice upgrades and you just don't care for elites and you want to go to as many rest sites as you can, or you have a deck that you are confident that you can handle the boss, but elites and even normal fights are a problem, and that kind of deck can exist. Why? Because the elite fights are long, So you have a deck that sets up in a long time, then that could happen. So you want to go to as many rest sites as you can. And yeah, so at 6, and this is, really hurting. So for example, count yourself lucky if you can go through like 4 rest sites in a single act. Normally it's like 3 and sometimes even 2. Yeah, so at this point the game is much harder, right? Because all of it is cumulative. 7, rare and upgraded cards appear less often. So this is not very easy to feel, but it is feelable. So in Slay Spire 1, in Act 1 you never get them, right? I'm not counting the exceptions where you are getting upgraded cards, guaranteed upgraded cards, right? Like the starting bonus, or you get an egg early on. So other than that, you do not get any upgrade cards in Act 1, but in Act 2 and Act 3, you get them, I believe, in Slay Spire 1 with 1 in 6 frequency. So every 2 card rewards should contain, 1 upgrade card, right? That's the average. And with the, scarcity Ascension, they are not named as Slay Spire 1, but they go down to 1 in 8. So, you would see 3 upgrade cards every 8 rewards. Somewhat lower. I don't know what it is, but, I can feel it. And it doesn't go for rares in Slay Spire 1. It's only for upgrade cards. In Slay Spire 2, it's rare and upgrade cards. This is a little bit less challenging than the others, but also it's also more subtle, right? Because, you are losing 1 potion slot. That is obvious how and when it's hurting you. This is of course much harder to tell, but for example, I did complain about this a few times today. Pretty late in the game, I was continuously being offered 3 unupgraded cards, and they were not worth it when they were unupgraded, but they would have been worth it if one of them was upgraded. So yeah, I did feel this. Now come the real deal. So guys, 8 and 9 are the hardest. You will find yourself losing, very frequently. Let's put it mildly. 8, all enemies are harder to kill. That means more HP on everyone, right? So for example, the 45, 48 HP Centimillipede, the Act 2 elite, 3 worms, right? You kill them in 2 turns, one of them revives, that sort of thing. They go to like 50, 52, right? Just to get you a measure of things. Bosses have like 10 more HP. Act 3 bosses actually have even more. So yeah. So if you are in a fight that you are going to barely kill, and kill, and next time you're dead, you will be dead this time because they have more HP. So this, I would say, is the second hardest, and this is the hardest. This is insane. So this is Ascension 17, 18, and 19 of Slay Spire 1 put together. So, and this does not go for attacks only. So they deal more damage, right? And on top of that, the stuff they do is also uglier. So for example, guys, are they going to give you 3 days? Nope, they will give you 4 days, right? So it's not only damage. So for example, guys, Skulking Colony. So you may not know it by name, but when I describe it to you, you will know what I'm talking about. The Act 1 Underdogs Elite that refuses to take more than 20 damage in a turn. So that guy starts off with 10 damage, and in the second turn he deals 17, right? So every single attack of theirs deal additional damage. And on top of that, when they multi-attack, they deal 1 more damage, which means, if it's attacking twice, it's going to deal 2 more damage. And, when they give dazed, they give like 4 dazed on 9. Now, this is very nasty. Very, very nasty. This is the hardest. And so, now it's a little bit of a curious thing, right? If you haven't seen 10, why do I say 8 and 9 are the hardest and not 10? So, this is 10. This is Slay Spire 1's Ascension 20. At the end of Act 3, you will fight the boss, and then you will immediately fight another boss. No rest site, nothing in between. The only thing that works is pantographs. So pantograph's value on Ascension 10 actually goes up by a lot. Pantograph is the relic that uses you for 25 at the beginning of boss fights. So yeah, that does gain a lot of value, because imagine there is nothing allowed in between bosses. And the bosses don't drop anything either. So for example, you beat the boss, you do not get a card reward, you do not get a potion, you do not get gold in case, you know, there is something that triggers off it, nothing, right? You just immediately fight it, and pantograph triggers on the beginning of the first boss fight and the second boss fight. So yeah. And different from Slay the Spire 1, you actually see who are going to fight and in what order. Right? In Slay the Spire 1, what was happening was there were 3 Act 3 bosses, Awakened, Time Eater, and who was the third? Really? This is not possible. I'm shocked. Oh, Donudeka. Yes, I remembered. So you would see the first one, but the second would be a mystery, right? And sometimes some decks were getting hard counter because, you know, for example, Awakened would scale off your powers, right? Whenever you play a power, you would gain strength. So knowing it could be a nice thing, but of course, you know, Slay the Spire 1 was developed over many years, and so yeah, that wasn't the case. And I don't think it was an additional layer of difficulty. I mean, it was an additional layer of difficulty, but I don't think it was intended. They just didn't think about it, and then they didn't add it. But this time we can see, right? At the beginning of Act 3, when you are picking your reward for beating the Act 2 boss from the Ancient, right? You are able to see which bosses you will be fighting and even what order, right? So you can, you know, and there are only 3 bosses, by the way, so you will basically not be fighting one of them. But at least you know, right? Because, you know, some stuff scales of something, some other stuff scales of the other thing, right? There is the Queen, there is the Test Subject, and there is the Door Maker, which is getting constantly changed, the Door Maker. So that's about it. Right now, guys, I am in a top spot. So I was climbing to Ascension 10 on everyone, right? It did take a long time. The game has been out for like 3 weeks now. But obviously, you know, I played Diablo, I played other stuff. Anyway, I did run my first Ascension 10 run. That was a bit of a tongue twister there, and it's pretty late. So I did my first Ascension 10 run today, and I won. So, you know, I could leave it all at the top. So when I was climbing, I died many times, right? But on Ascension 10, I did a single run, and that was with Silent, and it was the weirdest run. I will be uploading it to YouTube in the coming days. You'll see it. I had a murder that I dealt like 270 damage or something with, without any vulnerable. Yeah. It was pretty nasty. So yeah, maybe quit while at the top. So guys, and you know, final remarks. This is, I would say, I mean, I can't really even, you know, put up, I was going to say like 10 times, 20 times harder than the base game, but no. I would say like infinitely many times harder. That would be an exaggeration, of course, jokes aside, but I can't really give you a number, but it is much, 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 much harder than the base game. So maybe it doesn't feel like it, but all of these being cumulative, right? So you will have more elites, you will have fewer rares, fewer rest sites, fewer upgraded cards, less potion slots, less gold, right? Everyone is more HP, everyone deals more damage, everyone does nastier debuffs, right? And add all of on the, do you have the curse, right? Add all of this, right? And it becomes insane harder. So for example, guys, for me, at 8, I did stop a little. At 9, I did stop hard, right? I mean, I'm like, you know, I have 45 HP, right? Let me try this elite on Act 1. Dead, right? Dead, dead, dead. So many times. So, and on 10, as I told you, my first run ended up succeeding. Yeah. So that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. That was, of course, a little bit too chatty, as is my style. And I will see you guys on stream. Bye-bye.